Collective Awakening podcast, sharing truth and knowledge in this time of conscious awakening with Chris and Stephen. Hello friends, and welcome to the Collective Awakening Talk live with some wonderful speakers this evening on healing, health and well-being. Thank you so much for being with us and connected with us. We are watching us live this evening, or perhaps you're listening to us a little bit later on. During the course of tonight, this is a community event, so if you want to comment, please do so, share as these talks are happening. And we're so pleased that we have a wide range of speakers, our friends that we've connected with on this journey, who have given the time freely to share with us. So it's going to be a great evening, Stephen.
Yes, can't wait. I can't wait to for everybody. And over the years, we made some fantastic connections with some wonderful souls around the world, and it's just great just to come together in friendship and share some of the experiences and the knowledge, and in the hope of inspiring other people to take up on this wonderful path of self-healing. Amazing journey. Yeah, excited. And on the process, we're going to learn something as well, Chris.
This is what's fantastic about these talks, is that as we're doing them and we're listening to each other and learning from one another, we're learning all the time and we're growing and shaking up some belief systems, perhaps even tonight as well, which is always healthy. I always feel that's healthy for the soul. So we're going to go. Our first speaker is actually going to be Rick Corns, and Rick couldn't join us live this evening, but he was so wanted to be part of it. He's actually running a workshop right now online that he pre-recorded something for us. So I'm going to play that, fingers crossed, all being well. And so we hope you enjoy this first talk.
Well, good evening to you all, wherever you are. Thank you to Chris and Stephen at all the Purple Mountain for inviting me to share my thoughts on well-being with you all this evening. My name is Rick Corns. I'm a psychic medium, a Reiki master teacher, and a licensed Healing Life teacher running workshops based on the philosophy of Louise Hay. As you all know, we are currently experiencing some unusual times. There's a great awakening happening, which is good to see. The energy can be extremely intense. Some people are avoiding the truth, avoiding even looking at it, hoping it will go away. Some people are constantly searching for the truth, as if they are on a mission of utmost importance, as if it is their job to save everyone else by pointing out their truth. I've often called myself a truth seeker rather than, shall we say, a conspiracy theorist. But this is where it gets to be a huge drain on our energy. It's very important right now to protect our own energy and keep it topped up with good diet, exercise, and plenty of healing of your choice, whether that is Reiki, spiritual healing, or having a good massage, etc. The most important aspect at this time is to concentrate on your own well-being. This may appear a little selfish, so I always add the word first at the end of that sentence. Look after yourself first, and then help others. It's not so selfish when you add that little word on. There's a lot more confusion to come. There's a lot more expansion and growth in humanity to come. There will also be a separation of different soul groups as we continue the ascension process. Not every soul will head into 5D, as many souls will still have lessons and growth to experience in the third dimension, and they will pass over to a different existence to continue their progress elsewhere. Incidentally, this is known as rapture in the Bible, whereby it was purported to be only the righteous who would ascend. Well, you can make your own mind up on that one. There was a film with Nicolas Cage called Left Behind, which illustrates this, and the truth converted and wrapped up in fiction. Anyway, that's beside the point. We all have our own journeys. We all have our own life stories and experiences, which are exactly what our own souls need to grow and progress. There is no right or wrong. We all have our own path. No matter what stage you're at, wherever you are on your own individual journey, it is so important to look after yourself first, to concentrate on your own well-being before looking after others. To look after ourselves can mean a variety of things. Obviously, a good diet that suits you and plenty of exercise are high up on the list. But what about mental well-being and emotional and spiritual well-being? What can we do to alleviate and to improve these aspects of ourselves? Well, we can meditate and we can feel into our own truths. Don't take what others say as the truth. We are being controlled and manipulated at the moment by those in higher places and encouraged to be guided by fear, not love. Love is the highest vibration. Fear is right down there at the bottom of the emotion, of the vibrational scale. There's a certain school of thought that teaches you to go and sit in the power when you're meditating. Well, I'm sorry, but this is not the best way of describing it. That teaches us that we are separate from the power and we to go looking for it. That's ego at its best. We are the power. Each and every one of us has the power within us, within each and every one of us. We just need to go within to find our power. Meditation practice can really help our well-being. We can also cut down our screen time, come away from phones, computers, and get out in nature. Social media can be great to keep in touch with friends, but it can also stir up the ego, encourage competitiveness, and can add to a sense of inferiority and lack, because we can be led to believe things that just aren't true. This isn't good for our well-being. You probably know and understand this already. So for me, the most important thing we need to address is we need to be aware of our thoughts. Every single action we take starts with a thought. This is one of Louise Hay's most important teachings. Change your thoughts, change your life. Even just walking across the room to turn on the light switch starts with a thought in your head. The process is thought, action, outcome. So if we change our thoughts, we change our actions, thus changing our outcomes or our life. So our own thoughts are important to our well-being. At this point, I thought I would share some philosophy I wrote some years ago. As some of you will know, my background is in horticulture. I have spent a lot of years being in close contact with nature, which I've always found beneficial. So here it is. This bit of philosophy is called weeding out our thoughts. I was weeding a rather neglected rose bed the other day, and as often happens when you're close to nature, the female blackbird only 3 feet away, feeding off the grubs and worms that you've turned up, you start to contemplate. Whilst we have many analogies to illustrate important matters, this, as often happens, is quite simple. As I worked away dispatching the weeds, I realised that weeding a border was so similar to clearing out our own thoughts and beliefs, all our old thoughts and beliefs. Our heads, just like the borders, are full of thoughts. The borders are full of weeds, our heads are full of thoughts. And these thoughts are full of all sorts of varieties and sizes, just like the weeds in the border would be, and our minds are full of those thoughts. Some of the weeds were small annuals, insignificant, harmless, and easily got rid of, just like some of our thoughts. Other weeds took a little longer to remove, again, just like old beliefs. And some weeds, like the docks and dandelions, took a lot of digging to completely remove the deep roots, again, just like some of our own deep-seated beliefs. And on top of that were the nettles. Again, just like some of our old beliefs, they can turn and give you a nasty sting when you're not looking. However, with a bit of determination and some hard work, things start to look better. And as they say, the job's a good one. But wait, just like a garden, our thoughts need a bit of TLC and some regular maintenance. Or we'll be back where we started, being stung, having to do the job all over again, and things looking a mess. We need to be ever mindful of the thoughts creeping in, or before we know it, the weeds and thoughts have taken over again. So, as I mentioned earlier, the big change is coming. We need to be in good shape, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. There is a great quote from Barbara DeAngelis in her book, Soul Shifts, and I will share it with you. Waking up is for the brave. Becoming a seer and not just a seeker is not for the faint of heart. It is for the visionaries, the awakeners, the soul shifters. It is for you. I think that's a great quote. Being a seer, not just a seeker. And what does that mean? To me, it's sitting back and seeing what's happening. For many, many years, we seek out information. We want to know what's going on. We want to try and find the truth of this matter, the truth of that matter. We research this and research that. And sometimes you've just got to step back and just see it rather than seek that information. And then that when you do that, you actually are saving your own energy. And this is where I've chosen to focus my energy recently. Rather than chasing around and researching and sharing my version of the truth, rather than seeking the truth, last year I took the conscious decision to put myself first, to make sure my energy was right, so that I could be the best version of myself I could be. I now try and see the truth and deal with it on a personal level. It really is up to the individual to follow their own path, to wake up and see their own truth when they are ready. It's not for us to wake everybody else up. We just have to deal with ourselves. And when I'm in that state of mind, I'm far more able to have the capacity to help others. We're all beautiful, glorious souls. We deserve to be able to shine. And we cannot do that if we are run down and knackered and being overstretched, helping others. I'm not saying I get it right all the time. It has to be a conscious action, as we all too easily slip back into putting others first. I call it the curse of the light worker. So we need to lead by example. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Louise Hay called the process changing the world one person at a time, that one person being you. As you lead by example, the ripple effect on those around can be quite evident. Once you start to shine your light, it lights the way for others. All too often, we are referred to as light workers. Kyle Gray refers to us as light warriors, as we often fight for the light. I prefer to call ourselves light holders or way showers. We are the ones holding the light for others to follow, as I've just said. We are the pioneers, the ones cutting our way through the jungle, beating the path down for others to follow. But we cannot do this if we are constantly exhausted, when our energy is low from helping others. I have seen this so many times recently. As a medium, I'm privileged to be in a position to give readings. And so many times recently, time and time again, the message coming through from Spirit is, you cannot pour from an empty jug. The old analogy of putting your own oxygen mask on first before you help others has never been more true. We, as healers and empaths, are often starving ourselves of our own oxygen. So go ahead, look after yourself first, change yourself first, be the shining light for others to follow, but do it with a fully charged battery. So folks, my message today is clear. Go and put your own oxygen masks on, go and fill your own jugs up first, and let's be ready for that much needed change that's happening right now. And we can all head into 2023 fully charged and ready to take on anything that comes. Not only that, we can, if we are fully charged, be in a position to help others along the way. Thank you. I'll be running some courses in the new year. I will be repeating the Circuit Development online course in January for 6 weeks. And I'm also going to organise some Reiki training and some Healer Life workshops. All my details on my Facebook page, Rick Corns, Spiritual Coach. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the presentation. And once again, big thanks to Chris and Stephen and all up the Purple Mountain. Good evening. See you soon.
Wow,
Thanks so
amazing
much.
question.
Oh, wonderful words from Rick there. And just want to give him many thanks for the sharing and a powerful message for you come first, looking after self, which can pose a lot of challenges, but the change begins with you. So just want to send lots of love to Rick for sharing that with us. So it's over to you, Stephen.
Wonderful. It's going to be an absolute pleasure to introduce a very good friend of ours, Maureen from Living Waters Healing, creator of Befriend Your Soul, healer and energy worker. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you with us today, all the way from lovely, sunny or cold Canada. How are you, Maureen?
Hi, Chris. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you both. And yeah, it's okay. It's sunny today, but it is crisp. We're supposed to have some snow, so let us see how it goes. So thanks for creating this container, and thanks, Rick, for your wonderful sharing. And it is interesting. I love how you guys offer, really the container for each of us to be able to share what it is in our own discovery of awakening, what it is that we feel drawn to do. So that always, I don't know, establishes a really wonderful opportunity to just be you in that. And so with that, like Rick was saying, we're all on this, well, we can choose this journey of awakening, and what does that look like for each of us individually. And for me, what I found on my journey is that there is a profound awareness of who is it that is the orchestrating and who is leading this journey. And for me, it is the soul. It is the soul that is here to unfold its mission and its purpose. And sometimes we can get really caught up in coming to this earthly experience purely from a mindful perspective. So my journey of soul awakening has actually been a pillar practice that I have found in my soul yearning, longing, desiring to connect with that which has created me, the great oversoul, the creator. And how is it that I've learned to obtain that connection and receive that nourishment and replenishment of my own soul is by spending time in opening and inviting and allowing the touch, the blessing, the healing upon my own soul, the strengthening, the nourishing, the awakening of the gifts of my soul. And then there is this earthly platform for those souls' gifts to be expressed. And so that is what I am finding along my journey. For me, my deepest pillar practice is connecting, spending time, giving a soulful prayer, opening for me, for the divine to touch upon my soul, nourish and awaken all those exquisite attributes that are within the soul, awaken and also are embellished by that. So on a journey, though, what can happen, what in my experience is the mind, the ego, doesn't want to give way to that real true self. There's a struggle of releasing and relinquishing its leadership. So I was given like a download of a teaching on how to um, sh- uh, share and a teaching that we learn to befriend the soul. merging mindful aspects of what we think our life is about, what we think the journey is about, and opposed to just going merely from that to allowing and giving space for soul consciousness to rise up, to feel into our material consciousness, the awake state, and allow our life to be led from there. But we need to give it room. So I have the teaching background of yogic philosophy. And what has happened within that is I've been able to meld and merge the aspect of receiving the blessing of the Creator's love within my soul, and also merging the yogic philosophies that help to establish an understanding of how the mind works in a very sort of simple way, and allowing a merging to occur. So, what was received then is befriend your soul with grace. And the grace is an acronym for gratitude, reliance, acceptance, commitment, and expansion. So, this is what I do in my living. I put myself in this 5-week container again and again, time after time. So, it's like it establishes my own understanding of who I am based on giving rise to the soul's wisdom, the true self that is in there, opposed to merely taking my cues from what humanity has said it looks like to be a successful person, it looks like to be awake. What is in here? Say, let that guide. So within this container, we spend a week on each of the aspects. So within the G with for the grace is a component of gratitude. And if we think about being a friend, we know what it is like to be a friend to, a friend, a person. And we spend time, we listen, we may give some counsel, we give some support, these kind of things. But what does it mean to befriend your soul? What does it mean to mentally learn to discipline your awareness, your curiosity, your wonderment of this true nature of who you are? So we need to spend time in there. We need to give space. We need to ask questions. We need to be able to listen to the response. When within gratitude, we ask for an attribute of the soul that desires to rise forward, and we listen to that in our quiet meditative space. No matter how you're doing your practice, you can sit quietly in a space of it, or you could be out in nature, but it does require for the mind to have a certain ability to listen and to hear. And that attribute you take through could be patience that rises up. So, for the next 5 weeks, patience is going to be an attribute that um, is given opportunity to really show you how you are patient from that inner place within you. But what that means is life is going to give you the opportunity to be patient. So you are only patient in the face of impatience. So it can be a little bit challenging. But there's always a deeper understanding of yourself when you go through the experience of really living that quality within you, and it strengthens and deepens, and you can rely on it and you can live from it more easily. In the next part of grace, then the following week, we go into reliance. And so, what is that? Well, we learn to listen, we learn to rely, we learn to give way to insight, to wisdom that the soul has. So, rather than only trying to solve our things mentally, we learn to dive in and ask the question, okay, how would you respond if I gave you way to lead me in this, me meaning the mind, right? If I gave you way to lead me through this particular situation, How would you respond? How would love respond? How would patience respond? How would compassion respond? How would empathy? These are all qualities of the soul. And when you learn to listen for that guidance, and then you heed it and you exercise it, this is actually giving your mind the security of knowing that, oh, I have a real wheelhouse, a real aspect of wisdom and truth within me, and I'm experiencing my soul qualities. Following week, we go into acceptance. And acceptance, I usually like to take it down the vein of we need to accept that this is our journey. We're all here healing ourselves from, one could say, the karmas that we are carrying, or the human conditioning that we have, perpetuating within us due to our life's experiences, those triggers that we see, what sort of juts us out, and we are in our habitual patterning of whether that is feeling insecure or needing to feel dominant over another for our own security. The many things that we all recognize on that sort of shadow aspect of us. But here, there is a really beautiful mental meditation that supports the journey of the insecurity of the mind that comes from the yogic philosophy that I practice daily and I share and teach. And that really helps to calm the mind. So rather than it ping ponging back and forth from he said, she said, black, white, this way, that way, there's another aspect of our life, which is the quiet, still, intuitive, meditative, neutral space that is actually the place that serves the to hear the voice of the soul, to hear that inner wisdom. And so if we have that quality of a still, more still mind, we can hear that wisdom that rises up, and then we can respond overreacting from that. So that is, part of what it comes in with the acceptance portion within grace. And then from there, we move into commitment. So what is it, where are we putting our energies? What is it that we are committed to? We know what, the material gains are that we can easily put some commitment into. We want to buy a home. We want to achieve a degree. We want to do these many external things, and we can put our commitment into. But in this container, how do we commit to befriending our soul? And often how deviates us off of fulfilling the commitment is our distractions. So what are the distractions in our life that perpetuate our habits that are demoting? And look at those. And so in this, we choose, okay, what distraction am I willing to release? And it's not only about releasing the distraction, but we need to put something in place of the distraction, something that promotes our well-being, something that promotes our awakening, that promotes our spiritual path, that promotes our ability to act in that new way that we are trying to establish in our well-being. So we need to decide, okay, what is it that I can put in place of that? What am I willing to put in place of that? And so that week you are practicing with that, releasing the distraction. It could be the phone. It could be, being online. And so what is it that I am doing instead of that? Because these things are always sucking our energy away from us. So we learn to contain our energy. Where am I willing to allow my energy, my life force? Can I have it more in a creative vein? Can I use it in more of a promoting way for my soul's mission? What is there for that? And then in the E aspect of it is expansion. So with expansion, what usually happens as we move through the container of this 5 weeks, things come up for us to look at. And by having the strength of the nourishment for the soul, the receiving of the Creator, the divine's love within the soul, which just awakens us to a completely new brilliance within ourselves. These things rise up. So there's also, it's like a double-edged sword to the expansion. We expand in the awareness of our perspective, and we can live from a like a higher state. But what requires is something to be released. So we need to expiate or have some aspect of us that is knit within our own insecurities, our mental insecurities, that is inhibiting us from hearing the soul knowing and allowing that to rise up and shine in our life. We need to be able to surrender to that. And so once that is surrendered, because what happens with this love that comes in, it has its own workings, and it begins to have a working upon those shadow aspects of us, because two things cannot live within one place. So love is a higher truth than fear, as you know, Rick was saying. So when love exists there, and there's an incrustation around the soul of fear, whatever it's based in, it's going to crack that up. And so up comes our insecurities, our depressions, our anxieties. But when we are willing and have the grace to surrender in true humility and say, okay, I am in partnership with the Creator, with the divine. I don't need to do this alone. And I'm willing to allow myself to be embellished by this love, and that love to live there, and my nature to change, become more loving. Please, like, I surrender, let it happen. And in my experience of these things occurring, it doesn't have to last long. What creates it lasting long is our resistance to it. We all know, quite aware of what it means to resist. But when we resist, and that love has the opportunity to blast it, transmute it, and like transcend it, then love lives in there. That's where the experience, a true experience of expansion, because our soul has more room to have its wisdom, its light truly shining in our life. So I have found in my experience of walking with this, it to be something that allows my own individuality, my own soul expression, my own soul growth, my own soul awareness to shine and to show me, the mental me, the ego, who I really am. It's not a mental interpretation of needing to think I know who I am. The soul is going to show you who you are from the inside out. And it is an exquisite journey of coming into self-love, self-compassion. It's very empowering to observe the awakening of the gifts that are unique to each individual, to come into life and to live from that. So we're living from an awakened soul's perspective rather than a mental interpretation of what this is supposed to be about. So with that, yeah, it's something that I continue to put myself in, but I also teach it. It is a beautiful container for people to come into, and essentially, I am holding space for you to journey along with your own soul and discover that. I can share what has been my discovery. How is it that I can support you? Because I can completely have understanding and empathy for the journey and releasing, letting go, growing, expanding. So that is the container of the way I teach it in a 6-week container. And there's a new opportunity in January to for that to begin. So if you feel to journey along, if you're feeling soulfully inspired to discover yourself in that way, I would love to come together with you on that. And my other work is really based with that as the foundation. You know, I do spiritual coaching, spiritual healing, in-person healing, online healing, but it's about always guiding you back into you and discovering who you are, you know, the light that you are, the truth of you are, and how is it that that aspect of you in the soul gifts that really truly long to have a voice, but it can often be that the mind is so adamant about controlling itself. It's because it's having to find a new position. So mind in its highest perspective serves the soul. The soul we have a body and a mind to serve the soul's unfolding. What is it that we're here to do? So keeping the body and the mind in alignment with the soul is a wonderful journey. And I would love to walk with you as you befriend your soul with this. Thanks for the
Thank
opportunity.
you, Maureen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maureen. That was absolutely amazing. You put that very eloquently. And
Mm.
I think really the message there is just bringing awareness, inner awareness, and just listen, learn to listen, and opening and connecting with the heart. So I'm going to pass on to Chris, now inviting our next fabulous guest. Thank you.
That's it. Yeah, really enjoyed that as always, Maureen. Very soulful and loving knowledge there. And I really encourage anybody, if you wanted to, particularly some of Maureen's online work and online groups are really wonderful communities to be involved with as well. So thank you so much, Maureen, for sharing that. And now we move on to our next guest. He's a very good friend of ours, I'd say now, who we spoke to many times. We're usually talking to him from Austin, Texas, but tonight that is not so. He's getting closer, ever so closer to the UK, inch by inch. And we find him in Ibiza. He's Max Reader. He's an energy healer and spiritual coach, self-healing coach as well, and ever moving forward, and does some wonderful work. And Max is here once again, and he's going to share some of his knowledge and teachings with us. So welcome, Max. Thanks so much for being with us once again.
Oh, for sure. And Chris, Stephen, thank you for inviting me on. And Rick and Maureen, thank you for sharing, which we've already shared. And everybody that's here, it's good to be sharing space in this nice container so that we can send out a good transmission to the world and allow anyone who's willing to receive to make some shifts just tuning into this. So I'm grateful to be here, guys. So today, I didn't really plan what I'm going to talk about at all. And I think that it's in the spirit of what I want to transmit here, because what I really feel inclined to share about is connection. I'm a pain relief coach. So what I really help people most is in the area of relieving pain without drugs and surgeries. I myself had a lot of issues after I got out of the Navy. You can check out my story if you're interested in that, but it's not about me. It's really about the benefits that you can get from connection. So that's what I want to talk about here. Most of my life, I lived very self-isolated. Okay. And I was in a lot of pain and depression because of that. Typically, when you get disconnected from your surroundings and your environment, you're going to feel pretty off. You ever notice how extroverts get powered up by people's energy, but introverts get drained by others' energy? Okay. You ever thought about why that is? People that are disconnected are going to get drained more than people that are connected. And also it's related to longevity. If you live longer, you're connected more with inside and outside of yourself. So that includes being connected with the earth. It includes being connected with other people. And if you put up all these walls, you're wasting a lot of energy to protect yourself or to try to maintain the equilibrium of what you think you have. And by the way, I'm going to say some things that are maybe non-conventional here. It's probably going to bring up some resistance in some people. So I invite you to check in with your body. And if you feel resistance to anything that I'm saying, ask where it's coming from, ask what it's about, because I'm just neutrally putting this out there and it's just a perspective, anything that I say here today. So if you feel resistance in your body, this is a place where you're feeling a disconnection. Okay. So when we have a judgment about something, or when we decide that we have a fixed point of view about something, then we are creating this stagnation in us, basically. And this stagnation is where there's a lack of connection, and where we're furthering separation consciousness. Okay, right? There's separation consciousness on one end of the continuum, and then on the other is unity consciousness, right? Quantum entanglement, everything's connected, everything is in oneness, non-duality and duality over here. Everything is separate. There's friction, there's conflict. You're justified judging whatever you want over here, right? Where if everything is love and everything is God, everything is consciousness, whatever, then we need to, if you want to tap into the energy, the connectedness of all that is, then you want to erode these barriers that you put up, where you create definitions, limitations, and separation. And this lends itself to healing yourself from whatever you're trying to get out of your system, whatever you're trying to change about yourself. Okay. And always, when someone is not able to heal something, no matter what doctors and healers and practitioners they go see, there's something in them that is hanging on to a framework, okay, this quantum framework, a reality system that they're not letting go of, an identity attachment, somewhere where they're fixated on something that is furthering their separation consciousness. Okay, so again, if you feel anything that I'm saying, and he's like, oh, I don't like what he's saying, he doesn't know his shit, he's completely out of his mind, whatever, I would invite you to look at what is bringing up this friction in your body, so that you can allow it to expand. Okay, because if you have judgment of anything, it doesn't happen outside of you, it happens inside of you, and it's creating a wall that's separating you from source in that area. All right, so connection. When you're more connected, without judgment, without needing to protect yourself, you allow energy to flow through you unimpeded. You're not exerting any energy to try to change it or try to shove it out from you. And also, funny thing is, a lot of people will say, especially empaths, oh, I can't go out in crowds because it's just too much energy for me. I just get overloaded. Okay. And that's fair. You know, I've definitely experienced the same thing. I think my dad is grew up telling me the same thing. And the thing is, it's going to be an overload for you if you have judgment about what it's supposed to be. Because other people that don't do a lot of inner work, they're going to be holding some stuff. You know, you're going to have like heavy solar plexus and sacrals and whatever, closed hearts, and people that live in their heads a lot, trying to make sense of the logical reality. You can have all kinds of weird energy patterns you're picking up on, right? But if you judge it as something that's not supposed to be, or like they're lower life forms and you're not supposed to be around them or whatever, it sticks in your field. Okay. Whereas if you're open to connecting, then you're able to perceive and connect without needing to place a filter or an interpretation over it, then it doesn't phase you and you allow it to release from your system. Okay. It's judgment that creates the resistance that traps the energy in your system. So connection is really important for being able to live a more expansive and easygoing life. And we don't have to try so hard. You know, when, for example, if I'm a coach and part of what I do is the best way I can help someone is by getting them to work with me, right? Is convincing them that this is the best way that they can overcome their ailments. But if I'm results driven about it, and I'm like, I need to get this person working with me. I need to get this sale. I need to convince this person even. That's an expectation to hold on to too, right? As soon as you go into the results driven, you lose the connection, right? Any good salesperson is going to be aware of this too. Any good healer would know this, where you lose connection when you're focused on an expectation, when you're focused on a result. So we live in this masculine dominant society that is very more about getting the goal, getting the bag, whatever. You have to put all this effort in. And when you go into this place of putting all this effort in, not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just harder than actually sitting back, feeling yourself in your body and feeling the other person or the end goal, let's call it, in your body as though it's here now. Okay. A lot of people talk about law of attraction. Law of attraction is really connecting to that frequency that you intend to embody in yourself. So I think that there could be a lot more relief of people's issues, mental, emotional, and physical, if we really collectively understood the value of having connection in yourself, in ourselves. All right. And we can be in this space of inviting and receiving and allowing when we're actually connected to someone. When we feel like anxiety, for example, in public, the heart closes a little bit, the pericardium constricts around the heart, and we create this separation. We all have a magnetic field around the heart. The Heart Math Institute has measured it to be at least 8 feet around each person. So if you're around someone and you feel resistance, you feel like, oh, I feel uncomfortable around this person. Okay, well, you're literally feeling their magnetic field. And it's up to you to open up to it and allow it into you, because your magnetic field, their magnetic field, it affects each other's brain waves and heart rate variabilities. So when we are resistant to it, we have this internal constriction, we create this feeling of discomfort and dis-ease in the body. And until we can open up and let go of the judgments and let go of the things that are keeping us in separation, we're going to continue to experience discomfort and struggle in our lives. So life does not have to be a struggle. Suffering is optional, but we have to learn how to live in this state of connectedness and ease so that we can embody our highest frequencies, so that we can live in joy, so that we can live fun lives and not experience this rigidity and stiffness. Okay, the more stiff you are, the more serious and unenjoyable your life is generally going to be. All right. And like, let's say, you say, this person is XYZ, use whatever adjectives you want. You're limiting them to parameters that you're basically putting them in a box and deciding that they're different from you. And as long as you do that through every step of your life, you're going to experience more unfavorable experiences. And things aren't going to work out to the highest timeline that they could. Whereas if you're fully in connection and you're not leading with this expectation, so you're staying here in the now, and you're not even necessarily needing to follow all these systems and techniques that you've learned, because that's knowledge, and to know is in the past. You're able to be here and you're able to be connected with whoever you're speaking with, whoever you're connecting with, or whatever you're working towards in your life, so that it can actually be moving closer and closer to you the more that you actually raise your frequency to embody whatever it is that's going to call that in for yourself. All right. So I think that this was the biggest thing that helped me to start healing and to help other people to start heal. We work with people that have all kinds of incurable conditions and diseases, and they find that when they stop attaching to the things that have made them so separate, so unique, so significant, and they start to let go and feel themselves as connected to everything that is, then things start to change. Sometimes very quickly. It depends on the readiness of the person, right? And as they say, there's no incurable diseases, only incurable individuals, right? How much do you want to stay separate? Some people have soul contracts to be separate while they're here. Not everyone is supposed to heal entirely. And that's okay. Everyone has a different path. Some people enjoy being right about everything and suffering through everything because it's the way that they need to do it, or it's the way they're comfortable, it's the way they know, whatever. That's okay. But for people that are really choosing healing and they desperately want to do anything to change, I would ask, where are you furthering separation in your life? Where are you making something significant and rigid, where your own beliefs are creating limiting parameters of your mind, which are extending into limiting parameters in your reality? Because the more that you can connect to anything being possible without needing to feel resistance when that comes up in your system, the more that you can experience the life that you've always dreamed of. Okay. So hopefully this lands, hopefully this like flips some light bulbs on in your body, and it kind of helps to see maybe where you've limited yourself in the past. And so I would invite you right now just to take in the vibration of my voice and the energy that I'm coming from to communicate this message to you, and allow it to fully connect and be received into your body, so that you can allow yourself to open up to all that is without needing to project your own preconceived notions, judgments, and limitations that society, that family, that friends, that whoever has programmed into you to limit your capacity to be everything you want to be. All right. Whether that's being healed from whatever you're dealing with, whether that's being able to be free in your life, whether that's being able to be a better communicator, you know, whatever it is, learning this ability to connect and to feel your body, so that you can drop in with your awareness and allow yourself to receive anything that's there without placing judgment, without distorting your reality lens, just allowing yourself to connect with no language. You'll be able to experience a much, much more easygoing, pleasant lifestyle. All right. And so, yeah, I offer coaching. I do, I help people through a 3-month program to overcome mental, emotional, physical pains that they've been living in for a long time. If you want to check me out, maxwellreader.com, reader spelled with all E's. We also have some courses in there for people that are trying to heal their eyesight and that are just trying to activate their electric body, because that's what this comes down to. But yeah, connect, you know, always be looking at connection. And the last thing I'll mention is just, I would encourage you, if you've never tried a type of meditation that engages your body so that your body's under a little bit of strain. Oh, I'm at 11 minutes. Sorry, I'll wrap it up. Try it out. Try out some things that engage the body. If you've only ever meditated sitting comfortably with your eyes closed, try something new, because it's going to enable you to connect to your body on a deeper level than you've ever known. All right, that's all I'll say. Thanks, guys, for having me, and appreciate everybody being here.
Oh, thanks
I
so
love
much,
that, Chris.
Max. Oh, that was really motivational. I thought I could feel that energy, and kicking our asses a little bit as well with that one. I felt like, you know, and sometimes we have to go to that uncomfortable place. But what comes of it is a blissful and effortless life, just as you said, Max. So thanks so much for sharing that. As
Absolutely. Always
always,
be challenged and relax into the challenges.
yeah, love that. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much. We're going to continue on. We hope everybody's enjoying so far and resonating, which is important, helping you along your journey, helping you navigate whatever is in front of you at the moment. This is what we do these for, to share. So we're all growing along this pathway. And we move on to our next speaker, who we did do a previous podcast with, Tobias. Tobias Matthew, he'll be speaking with us next, and he does coaching also, and also encourages us to become our own savior as well. Tobias, I connected with through his TikTok lives, which he does most mornings, which are a really good way to start the day. If you're just getting up and you feel a bit sluggish, a great way to connect. And he also does a lot of community calls on his Beacons page as well, which we'll be sharing. So thank you so much, Tobias, for being with us. Welcome.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me back, guys. Really appreciate it. And I loved that, Max, what you were just sharing as well. I just thought everything in there was awesome. And the two guys before, thank you. Yeah, you know, I didn't really plan what I was going to say either. I wrote a couple of words down, and I wrote down community, living from love, and know who you are. I feel like there's been a bit of a theme that's coming out tonight, which is interesting because it shows where we're at as a collective. For me, living from love and knowing who you are is a lot of what the theme is. And you guys mentioned what I say my coaching is about. My community, my ethos, my mission is be your own savior, which the more I drill down into what that means, the more I realize it means knowing who you are. You know, knowing how so much of who you believe you are is just a conditioned sort of voice of lack and limitation that's partly been drilled into you, and also partly that we've drilled into ourselves because of everything we've gone through. And when we understand that, and we know everything that everyone's been talking about today, the truth of who you are, the consciousness, the awareness, the energy, the vibration, the everything, allness, whatever you want to call it underneath that, it really opens up a much simpler way of going about transformation than the way I think a lot of us have been taught to do it. It removes the necessity of getting our mind and our ego involved in trying to fix things, trying to change things, trying to come up with the perfect solution, and allows the natural forces of life to kind of take hold. And that is surrender. One of the other words I wrote down. And I think that's exactly what Max was just talking about, surrendering into the resistance that you feel, not trying to take a hammer to it and fix it. And and I still find myself doing this at times, but it's the allowing process, the allowing through knowing who you are, which is transformation, it is growth, it is expansion. And I think that's a beautiful theme that's coming out. And I think there's a real shift in consciousness I've noticed in myself, but also generally of that level of understanding of how simple this journey can be. And I say simple, knowing that it's not easy. It's not easy. This journey is not easy, and I'm sure we all experience that challenge. But it can be quite simple, I think. The other part of what I said was living from love, and I'm just going to touch on that a little bit. That's a big part of my mission, and I'm going to come into the other word, which is community, because community is, I think, something that's not been spoken about much tonight, and it's something that is very important to me, and it's the center of what I do, is actually creating a community called the Be Your Own Savior community, which we now have a new platform for. One of the guiding principles for that I now lean into for my life is living from love, which really means letting go of trying to get love and actually realizing that love is who you are, coming from that place. For so long, I spent my life wanting somebody to come along and fix me, save me, complete me, or hoping that some job or money or wealth or whatever it is would do that. And the realization that I eventually had, and this is part of what led me to start this movement, if you like, is the realization that wasn't going to happen. The only thing that was making me feel incomplete, unsaved, unsafe were my own wounds and limitations and stories, and what I put it bluntly, and excuse my language, the bullshit limitations that are running through our body and our vibration and our mind. Letting go of all of that is so important, and it happens when we know who we are, and it happens when we start living from love. And it also happens when we do those things in community. So I don't know what time I started, so I'm gonna keep this fairly short, but I do just want to talk about that, because one of the things I'm noticing is the power. I've talked about already, not trying to viciously do everything with your ego, allowing things to happen. I've forgotten your name now. Sorry, was it Max before me was talking about connection? Community. I'm now seeing this of people who come in, and not even people who maybe are not investing in one-to-one coaching. They're not ready for that, or they're still telling themselves a story that they can't afford it, or that they can't create it, because that is bullshit. We can all create anything that we want in our lives, but that's the story that many of us tell ourselves, and so they limit themselves. What I see is when we come together in community and we meet, in my community for the membership, we meet every week and we get on the TikTok lives and we sort of talk and share, and there's a transformation that happens, and there's a transformation which again, the talk before has helped me see in an even better way what's going on, that comes through connection, that really comes through connection. When we come together, we create, and I always say this, a coherent energy field, which we're doing tonight as well. Quantum entanglement, again, was spoken about before. We're all connected right now, and we're receiving and giving each other energy, and it's a beautiful process. It's an alchemization that happens. So that's all really I want to finish with is knowing who you are and coming together in a communal space, a sense of belonging, a sense of being seen, and a place to really be who you are. Be your own savior, to discover what that really means by seeing all the parts of you that are not true, that are false, that are tense, dense, limited, whatever that is. So just to extend a little invitation, because I think a few people have done that. If that is something that you want to explore, then you're very welcome to come on our community call, which is totally free on Thursday, which you can register. I'm sure the guys will share my link. But whether it's with me or someone else, whatever, it doesn't matter. Be in community, connect with people, and just remember that you are it. It really is that simple.
Oh, thank you so much, Tobias, and such a powerful message of community. And I feel it's something we're remembering at the moment to come back to. Finding strength in one another, and what we're doing this evening, resonating and sharing our truth. So thank you so much for being with us this evening. It feels
Thank
like
you.
this is a wave as we go along that's just gaining more momentum. So where are we going with it? But yeah, I'd encourage anybody. I've posted the link below if you want to connect with Tobias. And he's also on some other platforms as well, which I'd encourage if you'd want to do so. So thank you for sharing your time. So I'm going to hand over now to Stephen. It's all yours.
Hi. Is Pearl with us? Is Pearl with us?
She was. Let's have a look. So far, technically, we're doing. Oh no, we've lost her for the moment. So we could move to
Charlie.
We'll move to Charlie. Yeah.
Can you all hear me now?
We can.
Yay!
We can hear you, Charlie.
How are we all doing?
So doing really good. Thanks for joining us, Charlie. I'll just do like a brief introduction. It's Charlie works in healing work. He's been on a huge healing journey that's took so many forms. In so many ways. He works with the earth, really, with the herbs and what Mother Earth offers us, and also in doing that inner work within yourself and looking after, as we said, the mind, the spirit, but the body as well, looking after our bodies. So thank you so much, Charlie, for being with us.
You're
I know
welcome.
you're keeping very, very busy as well. So it's great that you're able to share your time. So it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris and Stephen. Thank you, everyone. Lovely to see lots of friends and new friends as well. And I'm going to talk about cell regeneration and how physically we can heal our bodies through food. And so basically, I'm just going to get straight into it and say that we can, every cell, every one of 76 trillion cells we have in our body can all regenerate. And what that means is that, like, over time, we get older and we start to, everything starts to get more older and we start to get more weaker. So we could call this degenerative. Well, we can reverse that process and regenerate. And basically, all we have to do is get out of the way and allow this beautiful body, this vessel, to do the work itself. And how to do that is through detoxing and fasting. These are two very powerful ways that as Chris said, my journey of many twists and tales has led me into fasting and detoxification. And I'm very grateful to have a very wise coach who now has allowed me to be able to help people through assisting and coaching. Using Mother Earth's medicines. But water fasting, for example, super simple. So when we stop eating food, our body does not digest anymore. It goes into a detoxification mode. And after a certain amount of time, and science backs this now, after a certain amount of time, our body goes into what's called autophagy or autolysis. And that means to self-digest. So what happens is the damaged cells from as well, not as well as emotional, as well as physical, but emotional as well. These damaged cells start to get flushed out, and stem cells uptake, and these are embryonic style stem cells, like what babies have in the plasma, exactly the same. I should know this, I've just had a baby. The placenta slipped my mind. But yeah, basically the stem cells start to lay down. It's about 18 hours of water fasting. And it's all different, depends on what we've got going inside us. But as a brief, it's 18 hours. And so what are the main messages of tonight? Like I just heard Tobias say, and unfortunately I didn't get to see many of the talks because my microphone wouldn't work. But we can all heal on a physical level. So if we've got any issues, the doctors might tell us we've got diseases and chronic illnesses and stuff. We can all reverse this. And it's when we know, it's super simple. I'll just go a little bit into it. Just being mindful of the time as well. So Hippocrates said, all disease goes back to the gut. And why he actually said that is because in our large colon, there's different areas where different organs and glands dump their waste into the colon to get out, then to be pooed out, basically. And if we've got our plaque and debris stuck onto the side of the colon from years of eating processed foods, high protein diets, etc., and we're all going to have this to some degree. We can actually be born with weakness there, which allows a lot of the even what we might think is healthy foods to actually get stuck there. So we all need to detox and fast, mainly detoxing, to clean out this plaque, because if there's plaque on the insides, the organs can't dump the toxins into the colon. I would like to explain it to clients is that imagine like under your sink and the pipe is just full and it's all stuck to the outside. It needs removing before we can absorb the nutrients. So it's super important. I do lots of different products to support this, but through detoxing, whether it be fruits or vegetables, juicing, there's many ways. But yeah, health is really simple. I've come to understand after a long few years actually getting to the truth. Yeah, and with such things like supplements and stuff, which is what we learn if we kind of go to nutrition school or do a course in the mainstream, is that you kind of walk away from anything like that with knowing how to treat things with supplements. Well, why supplement? It's because we're not eating the right foods to get the nutrition. So if we correct our diets in the first place, and there's no need to supplement. And I just take it back to basics. I talk to people about the 7 principles of health, which are air, water, exercise, passion, relationships, whole foods, and exercise. I think I said all them. And I just really simplify things. And if anyone wants to get in touch, then you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But yeah, health the main message that I wanted to get across is that if anyone's got any illnesses and worried about, like, they've got stuff going on, then there's nothing to worry about. It's all about education, and once we know how to fix these things, then we can be free. And that's everything I have to say. Thank you for listening. Sending my love.
Thank you so much, Charlie. I love that. And something that's important there is these supplements that didn't exist at one time, and just a lot of it is within our foods and our diet. So yeah, and it seems to be that message of being free and living our lives freely is something that's everyone said this evening. Living in alignment is wonderful if we can get there, which we can. It's
We
totally,
can, yeah.
yeah.
It's a process.
It's a process. We can only try our best. But something I've said quite a lot recently is it doesn't matter if it's a crawl, a walk, or a run, as long as we're starting, as long as we're going in that direction, we're going to get there every time. And don't be too hard on ourselves on days when we don't get it wrong, because that's learning too. But thank you so much, Charlie. And if anybody wants to reach out to Charlie for some advisement on his work, please feel free to do so. So thanks for so much. And Stephen.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, amazing, Charlie. Amazing. It's always the beauty of this. You get reminded about things, don't you? Which is all about, because the knowledge, the wisdom's already within us, and we need people like Charlie, Max, Tasha, Pearl, all these wonderful people just to tap us on the shoulder and gently remind us of who we are and what we're capable of. And healing can be so simple. Self-healing can be so simple if we just allow that reconnection.
Absolutely.
So, good evening. So I'm going to introduce our next guest, which is a wonderful friend of ours called Pearl Dickinson. She's a Kambo practitioner, a Reiki master, and energy healer as well. And she has been sitting in our spiritual circle for, God knows, maybe 12, 14 years. And during this time, we've shared some wonderful memories, stories, knowledge that is beyond compare. Welcome, Pearl. Lovely to see you back. I'm going to hand over to you, and please share your beautiful wisdom and inspiration to the world.
Thank you for having me this evening and for creating this space. I've had a few technical issues, so I do apologise. So really, what I was going to start with is, or just explain a little bit about my healing journey, and just to give a bit of understanding of, it's never too late to start it. I started doing healing modalities quite a long time ago. And what I came to realise was that it was a bit of a sticky plaster. I was sort of talking the talk, but I wasn't really walking the walk. So I think I had quite a lot of trauma, quite a lot of personal situations. It all came to a head. I'd say 2017 it started, and we had in 18 and 19, and then it came to 2020, which we knew what was coming with everything that we've dealt with over the past few years. And I had to start really looking at myself. I lost quite a few people, had a few bereavements and things like that, but I could see I was self-sabotaging. I knew about healing, about what I needed to do for myself, but I just kind of didn't put my 50% in, so to speak. And and I started to obviously start within the circle, and we were privileged to have a lot of information from spirit, and we was advised to do different sort of healing journeys. And so I started on what I would probably say is, the healing journey, where I go back to myself, where I looked at my behaviors, everything, every part of my life really, what was putting in my body, how I was thinking, how I was feeling. And when I sat and looked at myself, I thought, you know, you want to be, you know, you're a healer, but you're not doing the work yourself. So I did some shamanic journeying, which really helped me deal with a lot of trauma. And I sat with Kambo, which was unbelievable. One of the best things I've probably ever done for myself. And I started to detox my mind, my body, my life, my surroundings, you know, people that have in my life, which, you know, you have to understand the energy of what you're sitting within. So we had, you know, the lockdown, and I was on my own for that time, and that was a really, really deep diving time. I did some mindfulness work with a lady I know, and it really helped. It really, really helped. So yeah, I think it's just what I'm trying to sort of put out there is, you know, we all have a path. We all know that when we're not being good to ourselves, you know, I self-sabotaged quite a lot, and I thought I was okay, and I did self-sabotage quite a lot, and every so often I think my worst thing at the moment probably would be food, but I'm nowhere near as bad. But yeah, I just think that, you know, if you really want to go forward in any practice, or in just in as a personal gain for yourself, it will be to really sit in solitude, sit with yourself, think about you know, where you want to be, how you want to feel, and sort of, you know, what do you want out of this life. I loved going out and, you know, spending time with the friends and going to the pub and things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing if you want to do that, but I really felt that I needed to rein that in, and to, you know, going forward with how the world is changing in a really big way. You know, the food that we buy, nothing is the energy that it has is just, there's not a lot of nutrition in it. So what we need to be doing is looking forward and thinking how we can look after our vessel and see how we can live a cleaner and better life, really. So that sort of brought me to sort of my Kambo. The Kambo really helped me to cleanse, to clear my mind, my physical body, and to sit and understand and evaluate sort of behaviours of my own. So yeah, so what I'm really trying to say is just, if you really, you know, if you really want to move forward, look after your vessel. If you want it to take you into your older age, then, you know, you really to start looking at it and being kinder to it. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to share this evening.
Thank you, Pearl. That was absolutely amazing. And what I like about that, Pearl, is that, you know, a lot of people, unfortunately, in this work can romanticize that self-healing journey, and sometimes it can be incredibly uncomfortable.
Very,
But
very.
if absolutely, and I think if you're willing and wanting to immerse yourself into that self-healing journey, you will get there on the other side. And some of us, unfortunately, Pearl, I can relate to a lot of that. What you're saying there is that we've all got different journeys, but some of us have come back to do harder work, or have harder work than others, and maybe work on our shadow self more than others. And it's just, this is why we self-judgment, we shouldn't judge ourselves, and really what is, just grow with the flow, just grow with the flow.
It's like all those things that you openly shared there, Pearl, which was wonderful. It's everything is a progression. It has to be natural. If we just start doing things, yeah, if we just want to start doing things because somebody's told us, then it can actually lead us to be very unhappy. So it's best just to do things in our own time. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom. I'm going to now introduce
Who could be next? Who could be next?
Who could be next is a founding member of the Purple Mountain, Irene Stephenson. She is a healer, a crystal healer, a masseur. I think she has dabbled in the healing arts in every spectrum possible. She's got amazing healing hands. She's been one of the creators of a great healing technique that we do at the Purple Mountain called Chakra Touch. So Irene, please share me your beautiful wisdom with the world.
Oh, my wisdom. There's been some absolutely fabulous words and inspiration tonight. But my inspiration is I've lived a longer life than most of you. I've tried to look after my body, exercised a lot. But what I want to talk about tonight is something very close to my heart, is grief and what it can do to the body. Years and years ago, my sister went out on a night out and never came home. She had a really bad accident that was quite traumatic. I thought I would never come to terms with it. Probably still haven't today. And a grief of a pet, a parent is still bad. But when a 19-year-old goes out and doesn't come back, it's quite traumatic. And on the other hand, to deal with my parents, they were so traumatized. Then I went through the period of, why her? Why not me? I took more risks than she did. Why did it have to be her? Because I thought my parents would have missed her more than me. And for a good few years, I went down a really dark hole. I was going out drinking, thinking that was going to be the answer. I'd wake up in the morning, it'd still be there. Then one day I met my partner, who gave me so much support and had two beautiful boys, two beautiful children that took me on another journey, motherhood. And it was fantastic. I couldn't imagine my life without them. It started to heal what was there. I won't say that I don't feel. Writing this morning, I sort of got really emotional still after all these years. But I had to brighten myself up. I got two children and I didn't want to depress them. I didn't want to let them think about it, that the mother was sad. And it is a hard journey. And I feel for anyone that has lost anybody, it is really hard no matter what. But when you're young, you feel like they've missed out so much on life. I also felt very alone for a lot of years. My mum and dad were dealing with their grief, and I just thought, you're on your own here. You'll have to just step it up. And I did. Just motherhood just saved my life, I think. And I still get emotional after all these years. It has been one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with in my long life. And I'm sure it will be the hardest. I feel for people that have lost young ones, how they carry on. It's hard. I feel like it's spoiled quite a lot of my life and my mum's life. She was absolutely devastated and didn't want to be here. So I tried to make up for her. I tried to make up for my sister not being here, which was a big mistake, because you can't make up for another human being. You can only live your own life and be the best you can. And my dad used to say to me, there's no such word as can't. And it's very true. You can do anything, if you really try and you've got the support, which is very important. And I've got a few words here. Remember, time is the most valuable coin in your life. You and you alone will determine how you spend that coin. Be careful that you do not let others spend it for you. Thank you for listening to my words.
Thank you, Irene. That was very inspirational. Very inspirational, I think, and I feel, and I'm sure Chris is going to agree, showing your vulnerability, it actually brings us together in that greater community. And this is what this all works all about, showing your vulnerability, the different aspects of self-healing. And it just really brings us together. And really, I think what you've learned, Irene, that you are never alone, and that in this very, very mad world, and you being part of the Purple Mountain is giving you the great opportunity to talk about things where, you know what, you're not alone. There are many of people like us going through that grief, and grief in terms of the mental health pandemic that's going on in the world is never talked about. It's very hushed under behind closed doors, in particular in the Western culture. And we've got to talk about these things. Death, when we look at death, people look at death in a very morbid way. Death is just another, but it's part of nature, shouldn't be feared. It's part of the process. But you're absolutely spot on. Thank you very much, Irene, for sharing me your wisdom, your experience as well.
Yes, thank you for that. So, many more to come now. Now we've got you online. We'll have to do more.
So I'm going to now, Chris, I'm going to hand over to another fabulous friend, amazing friend, energy healer, medium, coach, herbalist, crystal healer. She's got it all in a handbag. And our fabulous Tasha. Thank you very much for joining us. Please share me your fabulous and amazing wisdom.
This collective energy, and oh, as the host is unmute. Oh yeah, just checking what was written on there. You know, with these beautiful eyes that I don't always see you with. Yeah, it's been great listening to absolutely everyone this evening. Everyone has got such what's that word? The ancestors collection. We're tapping into energy, quantum fields. We're tapping into everything that makes us sovereign, makes us authentic. They ask us, what is spirituality? Well, spirituality is being you alone, self itself. Know yourself well? Well, that's exactly what it's all about. Yes, I've gone into vibrational medicine. I've gone into vibrational energy, plant medicine, herbal medicine, whatever you want to put it together. And I feel a little bit nervous. I don't know why. Because once I start, I can't stop. No, once I'm in the flow, it's been absolutely amazing to know that we are not all alone anymore. That doesn't matter where we are, the energy carries and flows. We talk about magnetic energy. We are part of a massive consciousness. We are one. I'd like to say a story, but I'm not going to go into that story. But we definitely are one, and many. And every energy that we give out is telepathic. Once we're in tune with our body and allow it to flow, we are literally tuning in. Yes, the gut needs to be cleaned. Yes, the mind needs to be cleaned. Yes, we need to be able to offload when we need to offload, not own any disease, dis-ease, own nothing of it. We are part of a big thing here. Is we're unlearning a lot of rubbish. We are unlearning what we've been taught from birth, our parents, our grandparents. We are now becoming and are the ancestors. We are now being given a very big responsibility. We have come back with the contracts. We have written off karmic debt. We've done all sorts in this lifetime and lifetimes to come. I know we're not coming back. I'm afraid when we go back out there, we have to bring this energy. We are the warriors of this world. We are the ones that, it's not about saving the world, it's raising the frequency. It's raising the awareness. It's being in the awareness of knowing that we undo our own rubbish. We get out of our own way. The love and the heart is the biggest magnetic energy that we'll ever have. Once we get back to that, that's where we raise the frequency. We're raising it every single day. The energies are changing. Time is flying, if there is actually any existence of time. Everything's now. Every moment we have now, is even together now, is a moment. And talking about, as I was with Irene on there, with the grief, yes, grief is a lifetime and lifetimes. We live and we have those memories and those moments, and death is not the end. It's a part of the beautiful world that we live in, and the shadow world that we live in, but it's bringing light to the darkness. Knowing that we are grateful for everything that's arriving in this world, even with the darkness that comes in, that's where we shine our light. The energy is about vibrational energy. I've worked in different types of modalities of medicines. For me, it's ancestral medicine. It's not new medicine. It's not alternative medicine. It's not holistic medicine. It's the real medicine. Foraging in the wild, eating the wild, food isn't as well as it is as Pearl put out. We don't have that soil. They've distorted the soils. They've distorted everything they've put out there. What we have to do is intentionally know that when we eat something, intentionally, it's our energy that loves it going in. And obviously when it goes out the right place. And movement's so important with our bodies. We are programmed to think when we get to certain ages that we can't go up the stairs and our knees might hurt. But you know what the biggest signal to our bodies is? When we feel pain, that's where we need to feel it and adjust to it and let it go. I have come across having a mild stroke, vertigo, many other things that have occurred in my life. I am on no medicine except for vibrational medicine, energetic medicine, mindset medicine, tapping medicine. All the tools that we are given are there for us. It's whether we want to choose to do it or not, whether we want to allow it or not. Everything is down to us. We are the responsibility. We are the accountability. We are who we are, and we are whatever we want to become. We are the light, we are the dark, we are the absolute vibration of the frequencies that are occurring now. Nothing is here by accident. Everything is synchronized. There's nothing that says, oh, well, that just must be by accident. Accidents, yeah, right. But been really, really inspired by everybody this evening. And the more I learn, the more I unlearn, if that makes sense to everybody. We can only go by what we think we know. And afterwards, it's, no, actually, I don't resonate with that anymore. We can change our minds at any moment, at any time. Tomorrow, I'll be a different person. I might dress up as a clown tomorrow, or I might dress up as something else. I don't know. But what I'm really saying is, to be sovereign is to be authentic, is to love yourself. Love yourself so well that whenever you give out is what other people feel. And a lot of people say, oh gosh, your energy is so beautiful. Yeah, I work on it. And then I become it. And then I am. and then I am, and then I am again. What can I say I do? I do a lot of things, but I work with myself, and in part of doing that, I've worked a lot with the Purple Mountain. I've worked with a lot of other people personally. I body scan. I know and feel energy in people, which is of a distortion in someone's body. I work with animals, love animals, sentient beings, energy. I love being around the forests, trees, the mycelium that we walk on, the energy, the membrane. I think I've channeled here. But what I'm really, really trying to say is know thyself well. That's all you can do. And if something doesn't resonate one day, it's because you've changed. And change is great. It's when we get stuck and we get stuck in our loops, or we're getting stuck in memories of some sort that we remembered 10 years ago, but it's not the same memory as previous today, is we are different. Our mindsets are different. We're here to raise consciousness. We are here to raise frequency. We are here to unite. And we're not alone. And thank you very much for that time you've given me. Thank you so much.
Tasha, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for sharing me your wisdom and your vibration. I think the big thing that I sort of picked up from that is a willingness to unlearn. And I like that, because it's when we get triggered, and we have to get triggered every day, and this voice comes in the head, and do you really want to hold on to that? But the truth saying, just let go, just surrender. If you're willing to unlearn those old habits, false belief system, those distortions, illusion, we unshackle ourselves. We become our true self, which a lot of people talked about tonight. Is we're part of that wider spiritual loving community of warriors of love and light. So I'm going to hand over to Chris.
Okay, well, I just want to thank everybody again, and I think because we're all still online, if I'm just going to share a few words, and then if any of our speakers wish to say anything just to close, that they're welcome to. But I wanted to share with you, and I feel it's been mentioned a lot tonight that a lot of us haven't written anything down or prepared. We've just gone with the flow, which I find is always the best way. But I met an individual today during a private reading, and my thoughts wanted to go to the power of forgiveness in this world, which I feel is so important. And not only important in forgiving, sometimes in forgiving, it can be thought of as we're letting somebody go or get off with something, we're releasing somebody. But actually, what we're doing is we're releasing ourselves from carrying that, from carrying those thoughts of anger, those thoughts that can make our bodies very unwell. And I feel it's one of the greatest challenges maybe we face on the earth plane when somebody hurts us or even hurts a member of our family, of being able to send them the same love as you would send a member of your family or a loved one, and saying, do you know why I'm sending it? Because they need it. They're going to need it. So it's that power of unconditional love. And I've experienced it a few times around me, where I've seen forgiveness given to people and how it allows the other person involved to then, it's almost like giving them permission to heal themselves and letting go. So I actually feel also on our journey in health and well-being, forgiving others is so important for ourselves, first of all, but is also important for the world. So that's what I wanted to share just to close this evening. So I'm going to hand over back to Stephen. If there's anything you want to share with us.
What is absolutely amazing is I didn't let Chris know what I was going to speak about, and it was actually on the word forgiveness, believe it or not, Chris. Isn't that amazing? So it's great minds, great hearts. We keep saying great minds. It should be great hearts feeling the same. And really, you know,
I'm not going to claim to be a great mind.
No. Yeah, forgiveness is when we look at the opposite, when we don't forgive. So a lot of people ask us, you know, at the center, oh, how do you forgive? Wow. I say to people, wow, how does not forgiving feel? How does it feel? And I said, wow, it feels heavy. I feel stuck. I feel heaviness in my heart. So I always try to sort of lift the mirror and say, well, This is how you feel when you don't forgive. Could you imagine what you could feel when you do forgive? And when you look at the word forgiveness, we are giving, aren't we? We're giving part of an opening of the heart. And I know I could talk from experience of growing up in a very traumatic childhood, really. And it wasn't until that feeling of forgiveness was presented to me through a very, very sacred journey, ceremonial journey, did I really understand the power of forgiveness and how it released me from the shackles of karma. Because when you don't forgive, it can entrap you into a karmic loop. And really, when you do forgive people that hurt you, and people can hurt you on a daily basis, is don't take it personal. A lot of people that are not nice to us are only projecting and mirroring their own trauma, their own pain and hurt onto us. And really, as an observer and a listener, you just send love back. You give love back. And that washes away any negativity or hurt. But when you do forgive, and when you don't forgive, it can drain you. It can hold you on into this very stagnant negative vibration. And I can tell you from personal experience, when you do forgive the people like a mother or father that has hurt you, it liberates you. And it doesn't mean when you forgive people that you have to have them back in your life. It means that you've helped them as well, because sometimes people can hold on to guilt and shame of the feeling of judgment from the person that they've hurt. And I found that with my stepfather, that when I forgave him, it liberated him in the knowing that perhaps when he makes his transition, that he won't then be entangled in karma, that he will be released, because there's not a judgment, an energetic judgment that I've placed upon him, because I've forgiven him, if that makes sense to everybody. So forgiveness is an amazing practice that we should all practice every day. Self-forgiveness and forgiving others. And I want to say, Chris, it's been absolutely amazing. So thank you very much, Chris, for letting me host tonight as well, which doesn't happen very often. I'm more of the co-pilot, not the main pilot. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you for sharing that, and synchronicity there. Absolutely. So I'm just going to come back to Max. Anything you want to share with us?
What do you, anything that I want to share? Can you finish your question? Is that it?
Yeah, just anything, because you're early on in this talk, sharing with us, and I know you've sat and listened intently, and just any thoughts that you feel you'd like to just close with.
Yeah, sure. So lots of different perspectives here shared today. It was like the same core message, but different perspectives. And any time we have a fixed point of view, we stagnate our growth. So I think it's really great to hear different points of view, different perspectives on things, and how people approach healing and evolution. And the more that we can be open to experiencing these points of view, the more that we can allow our consciousness to expand. So I appreciate everyone's unique experiences and backgrounds, and for sharing everything that you had today. And for anyone that's listening, anywhere that you have a fixed point of view where you believe something is absolute truth, what if you were wrong about everything? How would that feel? All right, that's it. That's what I'll leave with, and state the question.
Thanks so much, Max. Thank you for joining us, and all the best for your rest of your travels. Looking forward to you making it to the UK as well.
At some point, I'll make it to Blackpool. I'm getting closer.
You're getting closer. Thanks so
Wait,
much.
wait till the sunshine comes, because it's very windy, very rainy. Yeah.
Good point.
It's chilly.
Good point.
Yeah. So gonna come over to Pearl next. Just anything you want to share, just as we close this evening up?
Hi, yeah, it was just a little something came to me when I was listening to you about forgiveness, which, you know, it's, if we carry around all of that toxic energy, it's like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die. You know, it's like, why burden yourself with it? Why keep that? You know, it's not going anywhere apart from it's just going to make you poorly. So yeah, forgiveness is massive, and I think if we all learn to forgive a little more, the world would definitely be a nicer place. But thank you for having me this evening on here, and thank you everybody for sharing all of your worldly wisdom. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Pearl. That was really, really profound. Really stay with us. That message was strong. And so I'm going to come back to Charlie. If there's anything you want to share with us, Charlie, as we close up this talk? Oh, we're struggling to
You need
hear
to
you
put your
again, Charlie.
headphones.
We'll come back to you, Charlie. We'll loop back to you. Okay, give you a minute. So we'll come to Tasha.
Oh, back to me again as usual. No, there's not. Oh, you know what it's like. No, I think for this evening again, it's been a great night. It's like most people say, is we've all got a perspective, haven't we? And there is always synchronicity in nearly everything we've all said tonight. We're synchronizing in different ways, but we are unifying, and that's what it's about: unity and change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tasha.
Unity and community. I love
that as well.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Tasha. Thank you for giving your time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I'm going to come back to Charlie.
Hiya.
Can you?
Can you hear me?
Got you.
We can hear you, brother.
Loud and clear.
I just want to say it's really, really lovely to connect in with everyone's lovely energy. As I don't really do Zoom calls that often, and if I do find it difficult, like it's so different to speaking face to face. But yeah, it's been really nice, like seeing everyone and yeah, just feeling back into that energy, and yeah, it feels really good. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Thank you for your contributions this evening. Thank you for being with us in this energy. It's really appreciated, always.
Thank you.
So I'm going to come back round to my mum, Irene.
Okay. My words of wisdom are
here we go. Hold your breath.
You ready? Hold your breath. I'm the loose cannon, so be careful. Everything will work out the way it's supposed to, regardless of what you want. That's it.
I like that.
Is it.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.
Go with the flow of the river. So most of all, massive appreciation to all our speakers, but to all of you that are listening. And if you're listening to it live or you're connecting with us a little bit later, thank you so much for joining this space. And I think the big message is just this lovely feeling this evening of community, and that we're not on our own, and there are no perfect gurus here. We're all working through our own stuff as well. And as we do that, we grow in our knowing and our empathy along this pathway. So join with us and know that you're never on your own, and there's communities and there are people who resonate and understand. We just want to send lots of love and thanks to all our speakers and everyone who's listening. Thank you so much. Lots of love till we speak again. Thank you for watching the Collective Awakening podcast. For more information on the Purple Mountain Spiritual and Wellbeing Centre, you can visit our website at thepurplemountain.co.uk, and don't forget to click and subscribe.